They came without warning from the endless void above, monstrous aliens of living metal, minds cold and empty as the space between the stars. Their hunter-killer war machines scarred the skies with pillars of plasma fire as cities burned beneath. Mankind was caught utterly unprepared, our puny weapons useless against their superior technology. It was a laughable mismatch. We were already dead, we just didn't know it yet. But the Xenos would come to regret underestimating humanity. The killing was relentless in those early days. The machines harvesting lives in precise mechanical motions. No mercy, no emotion. Just extermination dispassionately carried out by alloyed demons wearing our blood. Their numbers seemed endless as dropships rained fresh nightmares hourly. We were cornered rats before the soulless gleam of their optic sensors, scurrying desperately for any hope of escape or fighting back. But mankind does not surrender gently, even to inevitability. As we teetered on the edge of annihilation, our fear ignited into molten fury. Scattered bands of survivors clung together, finding new strength in the warmth of shared defiance. We learned the ways of guerrilla warfare, melting into rubble-choked cities to strike hard and fade away like ghosts, managing to destroy a few of the abominations despite the slaughter. We might still lose this war, but we would make them pay for every damned inch of our planet. Jake huddled in the ruins of an office building, clutching his scavenged rifle tightly. The skeletal remains of the tower groaned and shifted in the wind, creaking echoes mingling with distant screams and weapons fire. He tried not to imagine how many dead lay crushed beneath the tons of debris. There was no time for grief. Survive now, mourn later. If there was a later. The heavy thud of mech footfalls reverberated through rubble. Jake froze, holding his breath. The footfalls halted nearby, followed by the high whine of servos and pistons as a sentry bot scanned the area. He pictured its emotionless optical sensors peering through buckled walls, hunting for any humans to exterminate. A bead of sweat trailed down his temple. "Don't see me," he prayed. After an eternity of silence, the footfalls resumed, then faded into the distance. Jake sagged, dizzy with relief. He missed the days when spotting an unfamiliar aircraft in the sky was exciting, not terrifying. When alien first contact had seemed an adventure, not genocide. The metallic monsters had shattered those innocent dreams, replacing wonder with horror and desperation. The office tower shuddered again, more violently. Jake scrambled away from the walls through a gaping hole, out onto the exposed girders and twisted rebar of a half-collapsed floor. Better to take his chances out here than be buried. He glanced up at the battle raging in orbit, fire blooming along the bellies of capital ships as they exchanged apocalyptic broadsides. The Xenos fleet shimmered ominously, prepared to pound what few cities remained into radioactive dust. Something strange happened as our species faced extinction. The Xenos juggernaut began to stumble. Their terrible hunter-killers were no longer immune to defeat. Healthy machines were discovered immobilized and corrupted, hacked. Their machine minds infused with human rage, turned now to avenge our devastated world. We named them freedom fighters. It was desperate work reprogramming the techno-demons to serve us. Our coders and engineers pushing mind and machine past safe limits in search of any vulnerability to exploit. But inch by inch we drove our counteroffensive, striking back against the aliens with their own twisted creations. An orchestra of violence orchestrated by human ingenuity. Our software hacked against theirs. Wetware versus electronics. Bold biological creativity routing mathematically precise logic. Maria winced as a fusillade of plasma bolts sizzled overhead, superheating the air. She huddled behind the shattered wall of an electronics shop, laptop cradled in her arms, cables snaking back inside the shop to the inert, hunter-killer sprawled in the rubble. This was their best chance yet to subvert one of the damn things. She typed furiously, probing for access points while her partner Oscar patched in hardware to bypass security protocols. They had lost too many friends to these emotionless murder machines. Turning one against its masters would be the sweetest revenge. Even a long-shot crack at hacking alien tech beat waiting helplessly to die. Warning symbols flashed red on her display. "We've got incoming hostiles," she yelled over the gunfire. Oscar yanked out the mods and smashed the laptop just as mechanized footsteps rounded the street corner. They took off running as plasma bolts zipped past. The colossal engines that had propelled their dominant advance now ground against the grit of human defiance. Their flawless strategies decayed under stress-forged wild cards and chaos. No matter how thoroughly they tried to exterminate us, we refused to be eliminated, scraping from the rubble an unbreakable unity of purpose. We clung to hope through sheer mythic force of will, writing the code of victory with gradually bloodier hands. Captain Choi swiped sweat from his eyes, wincing at the collection of fresh scars and burns left by the last skirmish. The guerrilla hack squads buying them time were paying a heavy price in blood. He studied the holographic command display, watching blue symbols marking hacked hunter-killers turn red as the Xenos isolated and reclaimed them. But not before each took a toll. The machines were godlike no more. "We've got limited window here, Captain," his XO said, face somber. "Recommend we deploy the virus before they patch this vulnerability." Choi nodded. It was time to bet everything on this desperate gamble codenamed Trojan Horse, a biological tech hybrid virus to cripple alien systems. "Signal all units we are going live with Trojan Horse. Tell our people to take shelter. It's time we punched back." In the end, we stood victorious amidst the wreckage of civilizations, having torn victory from the merciless depths of space. We redefined ourselves in fire and trauma, forged anew as a species aware we can endure any evil the endless dark harbors, and survive to strike back against the shadows. Never again will we be caught unaware by those who underestimate human endurance and spirit. Jake closed his eyes, letting the blistering wind scour away ashen grit. The relieved cries and laughter around him sounded sweeter than any music. The Xenos fleet had fled back through their wormholes. Whatever Trojan Horse was had worked. Blue sky peeked through breaks in the smoke for the first time in months. They'd paid such a terrible price in devastation and lives lost. But with rifles in hand and courage in heart, humanity had stared down soulless genocide and refused to blink. Now begins the long journey of healing and rebuilding. The shadows won't find us easy prey again. Now as saviors, we reach out to uplift those who once tried to destroy us. A second chance offered in compassion, despite the temptation of vengeance. Other races across the stars will learn mankind comes not as conquerors, but as fierce guardians ready to kindle defiant hope wherever it gutters against the encroaching dark. We have defeated death itself through ingenuity. No challenge is insurmountable when free minds unite in purpose and imagination's light shines upon our path forward. We will fear no evil. We will bear any burden. Ours are the minds that shape destiny. Maria hugged her son tightly amidst the celebrations, tears of joy and grief mingling on her cheeks. So much lost, but here was hope flourishing. She knew Oscar would be happy to see his boy grow up in a human-shaped future, not one coldly dictated by alien minds. More work remained than any one generation could finish, but they would do their part. She smiled up at the first true sunrise in months. They'd won a new chance to strengthen the kindness and spirit that bound them together, refusing to let trauma break humanity's indomitable heart. A chance to touch the stars in friendship, not fear. "Look to the sky," she whispered to her son. We'll go farther than our eyes can see, keeping imagination's flame lit against the dark. No matter what comes, we'll stand undaunted. Ours are the minds that shape destiny. The boy watched in awe as the ascending sun banished night's remnants, eyes wide with hope for the new day being born.